want to ask you a question. Get over here.
Because you don't mess with my fighters. That's why.
Hey, I protect him from a lot of people, but man, Brock looked like he wanted to kill him. We would have to jump him in there right now. I'm happy that I got guys that'll fight for me. You know, you guys think Rosendo pushing Brock Lesnar or something. Last night at Town Square, we were at dinner, me and my family. And one of my friends were going to leave to go to a show. And they wouldn't let him out of the restaurant because they said it was an active shooter in the area. So we're all on the ground with our kids and my whole family. We're like 60 people in there. And some of my sponsors from Oak Grove, some of the guys are like old military guys and FBI Special Forces guys. Bob Cook and Rosendo Sanchez and these guys, they ran towards where the shooters were because they said that they had a lot of them and they would have a chance to try to stop the person before they got to hurting anybody else. So where everybody else was on the floor scared, Bob Rosendo and the rest of those guys ran to exactly where the shooting started and even ran past the police. The police were there. They ran past the police into this arcade where the guy dropped his gun or something. So they, those guys will go out there and protect not only me, but my family. And that's more important than anything. So I got guys that'll work for me and fight for me in the gym, but they care about my family, my wife and kids more than anything. And that showed last night that they're real true friends.
Where was that?
It was at the Town Square. Yeah, the Town Square last night.
Well, DC, as incredible as that scene sounds like, it was a pretty incredible scene in there tonight.
Yeah.
I imagine pretty emotional for you overall. I know it's all happening very quickly, but man, has it set in yet? Give us an idea of what this moment feels like for you.
I can't really explain how it feels right now. It's such a big thing, something that seemed so impossible before. I left the heavyweight division ranked the #2 guy in the world, though, and I didn't get to fulfill my journey in this division because Kane was the champ. And if I had to make that same decision today, I would do the same thing and went down because I would never fight Kane. And I never would have done this tonight without him and all the rest of my training partners. But he's been, Velasquez has been to me is unbelievable. It's unmatched that he showed me that becoming a champion was possible because he's the first guy from AK to do it. And told me on numerous occasions that there was no way I could lose this fight tonight. Trained with me tirelessly, put himself on the line, and I really appreciate him for it. He's a great friend. I love that guy.
Can you talk about how you felt coming in tonight? Because Dana was here a little earlier, and he said, you know, you were having some back issues in camp. And then he said that, you know, you told us you were fine after the fall. He said, yeah, but he had a little bit of leg issue, you know.
Yeah.
And now we see your hand wrapped up there as well, which I'm assuming might have happened in the fight. But how banged up were you? How were you feeling coming into tonight?
You know, early in the fight camp, it was the extra weight, right? I usually train about 230, but I was training like 245, 250. So the extra weight was having a toll on my body, trying to train as I want to and carry the extra weight. It was very difficult. And early, I hurt myself, and I was out. I called Dana. I was supposed to do an EA Sports deal, and I was like, yo, my back is out. I can't even get off the couch. And so I stayed home, and he was like, calling me, like, how are you feeling? I was like, just give me a few days. I'll get in the hyperbaric chamber, and I'll get back to work. My leg, I fell. I hurt my leg. I had a scratch, and it was a little swollen, but whatever, you know. I'm a fighter, man. I'm a grinder. I'll get through whatever I can. I'm 39 years old. Things start to hurt a little bit more as you age. You guys ever think about, like, I'm 39 years old, and I just did this. This is the craziest thing in the world.
Can you talk about how the fight was playing out in your mind? Because, I mean, obviously he's a big guy and hits hard. He was having some success as well.
Yeah, you know, when we fight, we try to get the guy's timing. So that's kind of what I was doing, like seeing how he hit and seeing how fast he was and everything. And, you know, he took me down and he tried to punch me and I was getting up. And, you know, it all hurts. You know, Stipe is a big, strong guy. He's a great champion. But it wasn't anything abnormal. You know, like, I was like, wow, he hits hard, but not abnormally hard. So when I figured that out and I kind of got a bit of his timing and kind of figured that it wasn't going to be one punch that kind of slept me, I was like, okay, now I can start to go forward, march into him and try to get into the clinch. And that's what I started doing, and I started having success there, you know, hitting him with the jab and hitting him with a couple right hands. And then early in the fight, we got into a clinch position. And you guys know one of my favorite positions is a collar tie and uppercuts. Well, I'm sure they planned for that. But Rosendo and I have been working on going collar tie uppercut and then following it with a right hook. And so after the first one, I think he tried to block the uppercut, but the right hook was coming, and it landed beautifully.
Yeah. Last thing for me, I mean, you've put this deadline on your career, but you told Fox that, hey, you might want to defend the light heavyweight title. Dana said he's okay with that plan, while you wait for Brock to be eligible. So lay out for us. I mean, I know this just happened and you're enjoying the moment, but lay out for us the fights that are going to happen for you to close your career. I'm
going to take some time first. I'm going to go spend some time with my wife, Selena, and my kids, and we're going to go do something and hang out a little bit, and then we'll decide. But I'm at a point now where it's going to be very difficult to fight a Curtis Blades or a, I don't even know who's coming up at 205, to be honest with you. I don't really know who. Maybe Gustafsson fights well in August, but last time Gustafsson and I fought, we made no money. Like, he's got all these fans, but nobody buys pay-per-view. So it's weird. I was like, do you want to go to war and make so much less money? I mean, I fight Brock Lesnar, I'm getting paid. So I want to fight fights that make sense. So this guy's going to have to do something very special to earn a fight for the 205-pound belt, and I'll do it. I'll go down and fight and wait for Brock. So if I fought again around November, I could fight again around March and be done.
DC, right here. Can you just describe the scene in the octagon there with Brock, how that all unfolded? How aware were you that he was going to be cage side? Did you only notice after the fight?
No, it was weird because when I run sprints before every fight. We go out, we find a hallway, and I just bust out as many sprints as I can to get my heart rate up. As I was walking back into the arena, I see Brock Lesnar walking behind me, so I'm like, oh, what's Brock Lesnar doing here? Kind of like, oh, okay. Then, when I'm in the octagon waiting for Stipe, he was standing there kind of grimacing, like smirking at me. So I was like, oh, well, I guess Brock Lesnar's here to pick a fight. And so I called him out. I've been knowing him for a long time. I told him I want to kick his butt, and I will kick his butt when we fight.
Yeah, and Dana mentioned that a little bit, that you guys had a history. Can you just describe your history?
I've known Brock since 1997. That's why when he pushed me like that, it was very odd. I was like, yo, I saw Marty Morgan out there. You never seen Morty. Last time I saw Morty, Brock was getting his face bashed in by Cain Velasquez. I was like, wow, Morty, you guys are back. Like, they're back in the game, and I've known Brock and I wrestled in the 1998 junior college finals together. I was 197. He was the heavyweight champ. Then when he was at Minnesota, I was at Oklahoma State, so we wrestled each other twice a year in dual meets. Not against each other, but the teams wrestled each other. And then when Brock was wrestling at WWE, he was always great to me and my family. We'd go to the matches. He'd take pictures with my kids. And I guess when you step in the octagon, like your emotions are raised a little bit. And Brock pushed me. And then Rosendo pushed him, which was absolutely crazy. Because Rosendo's like 5'0". And but that's what my team does for me.
I know the pro wrestling fan, and you probably really enjoyed that. But,
I did.
Some of the feedback online is, staged, WWE fake.
Hey, staged. They're idiots. Fine, stay broke. You got a guy like Brock Lesnar in front of you, and you don't go crazy on him? Are you crazy? When Brock decided to step in the octagon with me, he's a pro wrestler. He does fake fighting. So I'll do fake fighting with you until I put my fist up upside of your face. I'll do fake fighting with you, Brock, and then I'll punch you upside your head. So yeah, you guys call it fake online. I see a whole bunch of fighters. Oh, it's so fake. I don't want to watch this. Tune in and keep lacing my pockets. You guys got to get on board. These guys get on the microphone after their fights and say, yeah, it's whatever the UFC decides. Okay.
And last thing, I know you've been very outspoken against, PED users and everything. You feel that disqualifies you from everything. just address that side of this
with
situation.
Brock's got to be clean, man. I'm not going to fight him if he's not clean. And we'll do USADA testing, and we'll do other testing. We'll do testing above USADA to make sure this man's clean. Because I'm not going to fight him if he's cheating. I've done that on a number of occasions already. I don't want to fight him if he's dirty, man. Do it the right way.
Can you elaborate? What can you do? What would your recourse be? You saw it as the standard. What would you be able to do above that?
You kind of put me in a hard position, right? Because I can't really say much in terms of USADA because USADA's been great to me. I've been in this testing program since 2001. But when you watch boxing, sometimes the guys do USADA testing and they do independent testing. And I just want him tested all the time. He's going to be getting tested even if I got to pay for it. We'll get him tested as often as we need to make sure he's clean.
I want to ask you the personal thing of this. You know, in your career, you've been booed by fans, even though most people in this room would say what a good guy you are, and you know, seemed kind of unfair. And you know, you've come up short to John Jones and the biggest events, and you know, you showed your emotion in the ring. To now be able to walk in the ring and you heard the people chanting DC, to win the championship, to finally be on top of the mountain. There's nowhere else to go. What is that like?
Oh, Kevin, you know, it's not even. It didn't start with Jones. It dates back to 2000 when I was 15 years old. I went to the World Championships and got third. I was second in the NCAA championships to Cael Sanderson. In the Olympic semifinals, I lost to one of the 10 greatest wrestlers of all time to finish fourth. And then to come and fight Jones and lose twice, you know, I've come up short in a lot of situations, but all those situations are earned. They don't say, well, DC, you're a great guy, we're going to put you in these big spots. I just had never been able to cash in. And tonight I was able to cash in, and it's just the most amazing thing. It almost feels like destiny. Like, we're going to wait till I saw more people saying than anything that I was going to get just demolished, and I was out of my prime. I'm not ready to compete. And I'm like, how do you know how I feel daily? You don't know me, you know? So it felt like a culmination of an athletics career that spans forever. And I know people will say, why not get out right now on top, on the peak? But I feel like I can still compete because I'm such a competitor. I will drive Selena crazy if I don't have anything to do. I'm home at like 2 weeks after the fight, and she's like, go to the gym. Because I'm like wrestling with her and stuff.
Is there a chance, I asked Dana this question, but is there a chance that you would stay on beyond March if, let's say for the sake of argument, you defend the light heavyweight title and you're successful against Brock sometime next year, and then that other guy that's out is ready to fight at heavyweight, would you consider another fight with him?
I mean, I would if he's around, but I don't know if he's going to be around. But honestly, at this point, does he even deserve it? You know, all these fights, and I hold the cards now. You may have won the fights, but I hold the cards. I'm the one that competed. I'm the one that went up and did something that you were not going to do. You know, I went and fought the baddest man on the planet, the most successful heavyweight champion of all time, a great guy, a great champion, a guy that does everything the right way, and I won. So I don't know. I don't know if that's going to happen.
And I will end with this. You know, you talked before the fight about potentially being the greatest fighter of all time. And, you know, Mighty Mouse would be in that conversation, George St. Pierre, and, of course, you and John. John never actually lost in the octagon. And I know you say his fight last year disqualified him, but he beat you in 2015 when he did not have that issue.
USADA wasn't around yet, just to be...
Okay. And I guess to end that question, though, do you feel the need then to have a win over him so you can make that argument that I'm the greatest?
I think that with this, I don't need him. Look, this tonight, right, for everyone that said you're a fake champion, you're not a real champion, can't question this one, right? You may question that light heavyweight title. You can question it to the grave. But I have something completely separate from him, and I'm very grateful for it because everything was tied to that guy. No matter how much I beat everybody up, it was always, well, you lost to Jones. Now, in this heavyweight division, a division that I never got to compete in and complete my journey in, I went and I completed and became the champ. So I'm a champion. I am one of the greatest fighters of all time. And you're right. I love DJ and I love GSP. And it's going to be one of the three of us.
Daniel, to your left. You know, you've accomplished so much at light heavyweight as a light heavyweight champion. In a way, it sometimes kind of overshadowed all your accomplishments at heavyweight just a few years back. Undefeated, never lost a round, beat a who's who of heavyweight contenders, champion in another organization. Now that you're the heavyweight champion as well, do you think that, let's say you defended the heavyweight title a couple of times, that there could actually be a debate about were you a greater heavyweight or a greater light heavyweight? Could kind of bring that back into focus?
I think now when you get 2 championships, people are going to question that regardless. Like, I mean, at 205, we never saw starching guys like this, not at this level, you know, and you know, always going to, the fact that you're in the conversation and people are talking about you is what you want. You know, you just don't want to be a person that people are indifferent about, you know. As long as they're talking, I'm happy.
And just my quick follow-up to that, because I know you have commented that leading up to this fight about the GOAT conversation, the greatest of all time. It seems like it's definitely a bullet point in your favor that you're part of two conversations now.
Yeah.
And the other guys that we talk about in that context are not really talked about that way, where we compare them in two simultaneous divisions. Do you agree?
Yeah, well, that's a big honor for me to separate myself from some of the greatest fighters of all time. It is a massive, massive honor. Only Conor McGregor did it at the same exact time. It's a big deal, you know. It's a big deal, and I'm very excited about it.
DC, right here. You said you hold the cards now, holding the two belts, and do you envision? I mean, you got Lesnar next. Dana White says you got Lesnar next. Do you envision a rematch with Stipe one day?
Stipe is such a great fighter that he may go and just knock everybody else again and find himself right back in the same position. Not many guys can beat him. This result tonight changes nothing about Stipe Miocic. He's a true champion in every sense of the word, and he's got a beautiful wife at home. They're about to have their first kid, and I wish him nothing but luck when he comes back. But he may find himself back in that position. It just has to be before March 20th, 2019. Because if it's past that date, I'm not doing it.
And you mentioned wrestling Sanderson 6 times in college, the Jones fights. Chasing to do something great. Was that the thing that has been driving you to now?
It's my whole life. I mean, it's my whole life. I represented Team USA for the first time when I was 15 years old. And that's what I've done my whole life. I said this on a few occasions this week. I've lived in these moments, you know, these big fights, big stages for wrestling, big sports moments, and I just really try to do my best, to be honest with you. I get nervous, I get scared, I don't know if I'm gonna win. I just go out there and try to do my best and let the chips fall where they may. I'm gonna go out there and fight everybody. I'm not afraid of anybody. I feel like my skills match up with most people, and I'll just go fight. I'll just let it all fly, and that's what I do. And it's worked 21 out of 23 times, and I think that's a pretty good percentage.
DC, to your left, you said that you saw Brock Lesnar, you weren't expecting him. So what do you think you would have said after the fight had Brock Lesnar not even been a part of the picture, if he wasn't here tonight? Do you know what you would have said or what you were thinking of saying?
Yeah, I would have said, Bob, Joe, I don't know, you know, and because I was feeling exactly that until I saw him. I was like, okay, I need to tell this guy something because he's obviously here for a fight. But just be forever grateful and thankful for the opportunities the UFC has given me. Thank Dana White and the fans that support me. I love them and tell them I appreciate them not giving up on me, even in my darkest moments. Say I love you to Selena, my son Daniel, and my daughter Marquita. Tell my mom and dad I love them. Those types of things. So in essence, Brock Lesnar stopped me from crying in the octagon again. Yeah, he kind of distracted me from saying all that stuff, and that would have made me cry again. I don't need to be another meme.
You say there's no other 205ers out there that are standing out to you to be next. And Volkov was here. He weighed in, so obviously he's thought of as a high contender.
Won't fight him.
Okay. And
Not a big enough fight.
Lewis got a win. Wasn't the prettiest win, but...
Not a big enough fight.
So it's Lesnar, and that's it.
It's going to be Lesnar or a guy like Miocic, Jones, big fights.
Does that mean you'll relinquish the light heavyweight belt sooner rather than later and let that
If
division
Gustafsson
go?
does something very special, I'll go fight him again because he's been acting like he won the first fight.
Okay.
Gustafsson can get it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Daniel, DC, it was right here.
Okay.
It was great watching you celebrate with your team in the octagon. It was great watching you celebrate with your family. As we were walking over here, we saw your kids holding each one of your belts, which was a great visual. But have you had a chance to talk to Cain yet?
Yeah.
What was that like, and what did Cain say to you?
Cain Velasquez was in the back because he always comes to the fights. He sits in the back with me, warm up. He walks with me to the staging area when I go to walk to the octagon. He hugs me, and then he turns around and he goes and he watches from the locker room. And when Jones was finishing me last year, he ran from the locker room and started yelling at John McCarthy because he thought he took too long to stop the fight. So he cares, man. He came to the back, and he I don't want to like ruin the aura of Cain Velasquez, but he'd been crying a little bit. But he said he was so proud of me, and he knew I was gonna do it. And I told him thank you, because without him I never could. I mean, people think that people get a little sick of our relationship publicly, you know, PDA. But he's one of my best friends. He's one of the best people you could ever meet in your entire life, man. He is a great human being. It's unbelievable, and he was very proud of me today as he saw me when I walked into the gym 9.5 years ago. Like, wow, this is how far you've come.
What does it mean right now? I mean, we've heard about him coming back. Is he close to a return? I mean,
man, let me tell you something. The reason the fight was so easy today was because, again, for the last 8 weeks, I've been getting beat up by Cain Velasquez. He's still the best, man. He's the best heavyweight the UFC's ever seen. He does things that you just don't expect somebody to do. I mean, still, out of shape, he comes in there and he does 3-4 rounds with me, and I'm exhausted. He wrestles. He comes and he does the cardio bike with me, even though he has nothing on the horizon. He just wanted to make sure that I had the best opportunity to win this fight, so he helped prepare me for it.
All right, last question. When Conor won the second belt, they had to go steal it from Tyron Woodley. Whose belt is the second
mine.
belt?
I told Dana yesterday, make sure there's 2 at the arena. I had this great feeling that I was going to win this fight, and we got it done.
Hi,
you guys let me go?
How exciting is it? I'm back here.
Okay.
Hi. How exciting is it for you as a WWE fan to, even before you get to the fights, to like talk trash with a guy who's the champ over there?
That's crazy. You know me, I love wrestling. Yeah, I watched some WWE stuff this weekend. I watched WrestleMania back in the day. I love it, man. I think it's great. But look, Brock Lesnar is the champion of the WWE. So when he comes over here, there's no script. There's no Vince McMahon saying, DC, lay easy on the punches. There's no Braun Strowman that when Brock punches him hard on purpose isn't going to respond. The moment Brock Lesnar punches me, I'm going to get in his ass. And we're going to have him running across that octagon like a lot of those other dudes did. So he can be big and bad and tough right now. But once that cage door closes, he's going to have to answer for his words. And he's definitely going to have to answer for that shove.
Could you see yourself appearing on some programming over there and maybe taking an F5 or hanging out with Vince?
If they wanted me over there, I'd go over there. I'd go beat Brock in a wrestling match. Maybe they do us a shoot match. Put us in singlets and see who wins. And I can go major decision him or something. Maybe pin him.
DC, real quick. While I certainly would never want to get in the way of you getting a Lesnar payday that you would deserve, how do you explain the moral dilemma of saying Jones doesn't deserve the platform to speak for his failed test, but Brock would deserve a title shot right after failing a test?
Maybe we're living in my world now, so I dictate the rules. So yeah, and plus I just really don't like Jones, so I'll never give him a platform.
DC, to your right over here. Your hand is wrapped. I think you're also icing it in the back. What's going on?
I hurt my finger. I don't know. I really don't know what they're called, but it's the one right next to the thumb. I hit him, and once it was over, like I hurt my finger. I have to get an X-ray tomorrow, see what happens, but I'll be fine.
In a lot of your fights, you push forward and you press, but you were kind of moving back up against the cage. Were you trying to bait him into the clinch to, like you explained earlier, that combination that you and Rosento had been working on?
Yeah, I was trying to get him to come forward because if you watch early, he was kind of tentative too because he expected me to come forward.
Right.
But then when he found some success, he started to press me. I got in the clinch. He threw me on the ground. I got up. He kind of held on me. I'm like, okay, use your energy to hold me. And then once I realized, like, the punches are hard but nothing crazy, then I started to go more into him. And that's when I'm at my best. And most guys wilt, and, Stipe's a great guy, and I like him. But there's one habit that he has. Every time he gets out of the clinch, he leaves his hands low. Guys just don't put him in the clinch enough. So to Stipe Miocic, as a friend, man, work on that clinch position because it's going to come into play again.
Thanks.
DC right here. Right here. I know the Brock fight is, of course, most likely next, but if you do indeed decide to go back down to 205 before retiring next March, how difficult do you think it would be to make that weight considering the weight you put on for this heavyweight title
I didn't
fight?
put on any weight. This is what I weigh. I weigh, I saw somebody say, someone texted me on Twitter, you gained 40 pounds in 6 months. I'm like, no, I didn't. I weigh 235 when I step in the octagon at 205 sometimes. I'm like 228 on fight night. The only time I weigh 205 is for about an hour on weigh-in day. I weigh 205 for an hour on weigh-in day. That's it. I cut weight until I can't cut weight anymore. Once I'm at 205.0, not 204.9, not anything less than 205, I go weigh in, and then I start to put my fluids back in me. I don't have to be 205. I just have to weigh in at 205. I gain no weight. I weigh 245 naturally. Hey, guys. Thank you. Can you believe this shit? It's amazing, right? It's fucking crazy. Let's get some photos. Get over here. I want my pictures to live forever like Connor's did.